I think it was around week 20 that we found out one of the twins was a little bit smaller than the other one, and they weren't getting enough blood flow. So we knew from the very beginning that we were likely going to have to deliver them early, and they would be premature. But the most amazing thing was when they started the C-section and we heard her cry. We were told that likely she wouldn't be able to cry when she was born, but I heard her cry and I heard him cry. So that was the best moment.
Well, we weren't pregnant very long. Honestly,
within the first few months, we were aware that we had a high-risk pregnancy.
We knew it was high risk, but the interesting thing is Grace was born at 24 weeks and 2 days, and at my 24-week appointment, the high-risk doctor that I had went to see said, this baby is perfect. You're doing great. And then a couple days later...
Clearly Grace heard that.
Decided
it was time.
And then I was at work and I was having pains. And I didn't know they were labor pains because I hadn't gotten that far in the What to Expect When You're Expecting book. So I had a friend at work said, you should call your doctor. And so good thing I did.
The pregnancy in the beginning was non-eventful. I mean, no morning sickness to speak of or anything like that. But when I started going for appointments, they noticed that the babies weren't growing the way they should be, and particularly Cameron. I was hearing about, we don't want to deliver the babies this early, but if we do, we have a wonderful high-tech NICU that is able to handle babies that are born at this gestation, and the babies will be fine. And that made me feel a little bit better.
The NICU at Shady Grove Adventist Hospital is unique because of our people, because they care. They care about the baby, they care about the family, they care about each other, and they also care very much about outcomes.
So Dylan, we were able to stop and get a picture of. He was about twice Alexis's size, and so things went smoother with his delivery. So they came out, we were able to get a picture of him. He came over, they were able to say hi.
I gave him a kiss.
And then they took him off. So had a little bit of time there, but with Alexis, things were already complicated from the start. And by the time we saw her, she was already in the incubator on the way by.
They tell you when you get to the NICU like 100 times that it's a roller coaster. And you're like, okay, I get it, it's a roller coaster, it's going to be ups and downs, but until you really live it, you're not really prepared for exactly how many. There's more downs than ups, it felt like for us with Alexis, at least for the first few months. But no matter how good a day is, the next day it's like brand new. You don't know what's coming. There's so many things that she still had to accomplish and develop, and that could go wrong, and a lot of them did. We had as good of an experience as you can have in a NICU. I think we achieved that there. We felt comfortable in their care. They're warm, caring people there that will definitely go beyond just being, medical staff to a family and friends. So I think we were very fortunate to have the Shady Grove NICU to be so close to our home.
Grace was in the NICU at Shady Grove Hospital for 96 days, and I wouldn't want to have that experience again, but if I did, I would choose Shady Grove every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Grace weighed 1.5 pounds. 1 pound 6 ounces, 1 pound 7 ounces.
1 pound 7 ounces, and she was 12 inches long.
You saw her first.
It was surreal, because at that point, you only see your baby on a sonogram or when the doctor is doing a scan. So seeing her getting wheeled down the hallway from delivery in an incubator completely blew my mind. We knew right away that, Dr. Sukumar had told us, we're very, very lucky because her lungs are overdeveloped. And we didn't know what that meant, but he sure did.
I know, it's a really good group of people. they do a really good job of knowing that parents are a big hot mess during that time, and
Oh, absolutely.
and you wonder how they can be in this position where they have to take such good care of these little tiny babies, and then at the same time be this calming, reassuring voice to the parents.
My doctors had told me not to go back to the hospital for a few days because I needed to recover from the emergency C-section, but the nurses and doctors in the NICU said, call us at any time. And I remember calling, at midnight or 2 a.m. and saying, how are they doing? Are they taking their feedings? And then when I started going in there, the nurses would hug you when you came in, and they would tell you, I know that they're supposed to do this, but it just knowing that they were basically parenting your child while you weren't there. You learn about things that are going on in their lives, and they learn about your life, and it really is like a family. And I remember leaving. I was when both boys were able to go home, I thought, oh, this is the greatest day. And then I thought, it's the saddest day because I have to leave this family now.
Working with these babies is the most amazing thing ever. You become part of the family with the parents and the baby, caring for them.
One of the challenges that we have as healthcare providers for some of the sickest babies is to educate families on what to do when they get home. That starts from the very first day of their care. We often will start talking about how their babies are going to not only survive but thrive. We incorporate the families in their care as soon as possible.
Yeah, it was a weird feeling at the NICU coming home, because clearly we were ecstatic that we were bringing her home, but we're scared because we don't know what's going to happen, and you're leaving the family of the NICU that we now gotten to know for like 4 months.
And we didn't know where to begin with how to arrange this sort of care, and what we didn't get answered while we were in the NICU, we had those last minute questions answered once we got home.
That's a great relief to have, is to know that there are people at the NICU that you can still call and talk to and get information from.
You're so excited to bring them home, but you're just scared out of your wits.
I can't believe the hospital trusted us to take her.
You really wonder. It just was so scary. But they know, they know that you can handle it and that she'll be okay and things will be good. But I still don't think we've caught up from the lack of sleep in that time. It just was literally afraid to go to sleep. I think the nurses do a very good job of going out of their way to making sure you feel prepared.
A little scary. It's a little bit, because you want to make sure you do everything right. You don't want to do anything wrong. It's a living thing you're in charge of now. He's a human being you're in charge of now.
I think I asked if Matthew could stay there until Cameron was ready to come home, but they said no. I think he was ready to come home, but I was worried about how I was going to go back and forth with Matthew at home and go back and see Cameron.
But I think it helped, though, to have one baby home, because it kind of got us ready for dealing with a baby, which is a lot to deal with around the clock. You get to have a newborn baby, and you have just one baby to deal with, kind of get you ready for a little bit, get you ready for 2. Yes. I think it was almost a blessing in disguise, having one baby home. Mm-hmm. As we got ready, as we got into a groove, sort of a routine with one baby being at home.
Mm-hmm. Especially with, they didn't come home on machines.
Right.
But they had episodes of bradycardia where in the hospital, so I was almost not wanting to go to sleep because you want to make sure they're breathing. I would check on them like every 15 minutes.
Oh, they're doing great. Dylan he's always been doing great, so he's up to over 13 pounds now. He's eating well. It's fun, interactive, and Alexis is doing great too. She's still on oxygen. She's still on her food pump, which we hope to end soon, but she's getting close to 8 pounds now.
As of now, I mean, she's still small, and so she's just trying to catch up, but developmentally, she seems like she is coming through this whole ordeal and her rough start really well.
Grace likes lacrosse. She plays, I think she's been playing since kindergarten, a clinic with Rockville, but she has come into her own with the sport, and she plays fall and winter and spring. It really is unbelievable when something like this happens to you, and the doctors and the nurses tell you it's going to be okay and list for you all the kids who've left there, and now they do this and now they do that. Now they play lacrosse, or now they get straight A's, or whatever the case is. And at the time, it seems, it's not that you don't believe them, but it just seems so far away.
It's a million miles away. And it's really funny because, you watch TV, you go to the movies, you watch sports, and, the real the real superstars are, at the NICU.
Right.
If you want a real life superstar, go to get to know those people, and you realize that they do what counts.
They do what counts, right? And Grace is living proof of that. So Grace is absolutely living proof of that.
Well, I always tell my friends I wouldn't exist in the world and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the people at the hospital and my mom, and then my friends we're glad to have you here, because that's hard. Okay, so they're we're glad to have you here because we really enjoy being your best friends. So.
There was a football game for their club football team. This is when they were in 7th or 8th grade?
8th grade.
8th grade. Cameron tackled this kid, and I thought, wow. Who is that kid? If you look at that play and then where he came from, I often think about that. I'll probably think about that, when they're 35 and married, and it just plays out in my mind almost every single day.
Yeah, sometimes I don't even think about it. I keep forgetting that we're premature. So, but yeah, my mom always reminds me. So, they said we were real small and that you could hold us in one hand. So I didn't believe it, but that's what they told us. So it's amazing that we kind of got this big. My mom told us we knew we were preemies, but she used to tell us that because we were playing this football at the time, and I was worrying about getting bigger, and then she's like, you need to stop worrying about that because you're already bigger than you should be.
It is such a great experience to see growing, thriving babies and their families come up to you and to be able to interact and tell us how they're doing.
I still get goosebumps when they come in here, and obviously we don't recognize them, and recognize the parents, and the parents are so proud that the babies have come this far, and they're so excited to show us how the kids are doing and how they're doing in school and socially, and it's that's our reward.